Hey guys, now I'm sure a lot of you are probably shocked to find me here at the beginning of this review. Now don't you guys worry, no, I'm not here to make any angry opening monologues. No, this is not a vlog style review or anything like that. This is just your average AniMat's classic review. Things will be going as usual, but the reason why I'm here is to give some of you a little bit of a warning. Now, considering that we are looking upon Team America World Police, the following review will contain a lot of coarse language and it will contain a lot of graphic violence. Now, no, it is not me who will do the graphic violence or say any of the cursing or anything like that. It's mostly in the background music and in a lot of the clips that I will be using that will have a lot of blood and gore and cursing and stuff like that. So, I know that usually I could just easily censor some of these stuff, but considering that there's just a ton of swearing and a ton of blood in this movie, it's better to just keep it as it is, and instead of just going all censor crazy, I might as well just make this warning intro just in case. So, if you guys cannot stomach any of the blood and violence, if you are easily offended by the swearing, then please just skip this review entirely. Just don't watch this. It'll have like so many, so it's not even worth it. But for the rest of you who are willing to stay and check this review out, the only thing I'll say to you is 3, 2, 1, go!
America, fuck yeah! Coming again to save the motherfucking day, yeah! America, fuck yeah! Freedom is the only way.
Team America World Police. This movie is actually just another pawn for Trey Parker and Matt Stone in order to conquer the entire entertainment industry through edgy and borderline offensive comedy. They already dominated television and animation with South Park, which brought them to feature films with South Park Bigger, Longer, and Uncut, and then after Team America, they would conquer the stage by creating the Broadway hit The Book of Mormon. All they need to do now is make a successful original album, and we will witness the first two people in the world who can literally do anything. Well, for entertainment purposes. But back onto Team America, is the movie as grand and beautiful as the way it portrays America? Or is it really tied up on its own strings? Let's find out. The story. The entire point of Team America is that it's a satire on big-budget action films, exaggerating the scenarios and action scenes, mocking the cliches, have the characters say and do stupid things, fully display the importance of America, and a lot more. That mixed with social commentary on how the US is trying to police the whole world. In this case, especially with Trey Parker and Matt Stone heading it, the humor is mostly based on the amount of ridiculousness in the scenes, to present how dumb these types of movies are when they take themselves very seriously. And the result is more of a mixed bag. There are moments that are generally funny, while others just feel, well, dumb and exaggerated. This will vary depend on one's sense of humor, rather if they find this completely hilarious or just a total dud.
By following the rules of the Film Actors Guild, the world can become a better place. One day you will all look at the world us actors created and say, wow, good going, fag.
But I'm sure plenty of you will find this in the middle. Some jokes will work by how clever they are, some won't because they were just stupid. As for the story itself, this movie proves exactly how a satire can be a double-edged sword. On one hand, sure, it does have a point with what it's trying to do. Action films take themselves way too seriously, and it does present that clearly. But on the other hand, in order to satire those action flicks, it has to heavily, if not solely, depend on cliches. Sure, I get why they use them as part of the big joke, but it seriously hurts the quality of the writing. It makes the movie completely predictable, and considering how not everything here is funny, it gives you some time to think what will happen next. The story may not always deliver the laughs and is easily predictable, but I do get what it's trying to do as a parody. The animation. Okay, so this is a first for me, since I've never reviewed something quite like this before. The way that this movie is done is through puppets, specifically the specially made marionettes. This is made to be a reference to the 60s British show Thunderbirds, which, oddly enough, Parker and Stone are not fans of. I'm sure a lot of people will be debating if this would technically count as an animated feature as much as something like motion capture, but I picked this out of my hat and I'm in the middle of reviewing it, so I guess there's no turning back at this point. Now, some of the humor in this film doesn't always rely on the whole satire bit. Part of the jokes are by how cheap these puppets look, like how we always see the strings, the way they walk, and how goofy they look in the fighting scenes. Again, like the use of satire, it simultaneously has its pros and cons. Sure, we get that the joke is how cheap they look, but it still looks cheap. It doesn't help either that the humor in this, as well, only works sometimes. Yeah, there are some creative moments here and there, and it does get a great laugh, but then it can feel like it's telling the same joke over and over. Also, there is a feeling that the designs on the puppets are just a bit creepy. I get that it's trying to emulate Thunderbirds, yet it's still uncomfortable how they're trying to look so realistically human in a way that you know it's really not. But outside of the puppets, everything else I have to say is really well done. As an action parody, it does have a lot of nice backgrounds and plenty of great special effects. They're what make the action scenes one of the highlights in this film. It's really not easy trying to make marionettes look good as a film animation medium, but this movie did try its best to work with what it has. The characters. As I said before, one of the ways this movie satires action films is by poking fun of the cliches they would often use. With that said, this is the biggest issue with the characters. They feel more like a part of a joke rather than actual characters. They're written in a way that's so exaggeratingly cliched and one-dimensional. Like Gary is the chosen hero with a special power, which in this case is acting. Lisa is the one that's having a hard time to love again because her last lover died on the job. Chris is the guy that never trusts Gary, Sarah is also in love with Gary, Joe is in love with Sarah, and Spotswood is the head of Team America. Just through those small descriptions alone, there's a good chance that you might know how their development will go and how things will end up. They're not bad or hateable characters, it's just that they're only a part of what makes this a satire. The only character that does feel like a character instead of a joke is Kim Jong-il. He just feels hilariously goofy by how much of a cartoony villain he is.
He says he should fire his translator?
I cannot believe that I actually have a Chechen standing here telling me when he's gonna take a delivery. Hello?
But then we have all the celebrities, who are in this to portray an additional little commentary from Parker and Stone. And that is how celebrities try to get involved with politics, where even if it has nothing to do with their job and have no connections with the political subject whatsoever, they still feel the need to play activist and be the voice of reason to the public. In a way, yeah, they're still not really treated as characters per se, but they do bring out Parker and Stone's signature of cleverly integrating a social commentary. Again, there's nothing bad here, and there's nobody who's there to make the viewing experience worse. It's just that they're not characters. They're just jokes. The songs. Technically, this isn't a musical, but considering there are a lot of original songs in here, I know that I have to at least mention them or else some people will be complaining about it. Trust me, I learned this the hard way with my Equestria Girls review, and that one only had like 3 or 4 songs. But anyways, I think I can safely say that the best part of this movie is the soundtrack. even if there were only 2 instances where the characters stopped to sing, it's really the background songs why people remember this film. As a way to make fun of the action flicks, most of the songs are made to exaggerate the mood of the scene in a hilariously memorable way. The only downside I would say about them is that there are a few that can get a bit repetitive with what it's trying to do, but those that do it right really hit its mark. Some of the highlights include Montage, which of course pokes fun at montages. There's the end of an act that describes how loving someone is like how Michael Bay's Pearl Harbor sucks. And my personal favorite, I'm So Ronri, which reveals why Kim Jong-il wants to destroy the Earth. Because he feels like he's in a world full of idiots. Is it a bad thing to say that this is the one that I feel the most relatable with? But I'm sure the one that you guys remember the most from this is the most stupidly awesome patriotic theme song. Admit it, I know you guys were singing it at the start of this review. If there is anything that you will remember from this movie, it's hands down at least one of the songs. Team America World Police is not amongst Trey Parker and Matt Stone's greatest works. With jokes that can be a hit and miss, heavy use of cliches, and cheap puppet animation, there is a bit of a disappointment that this is subpar compared to their other works. But does this make it a bad movie? Of course not! This is still a fun action satire with some clever social commentaries, hilarious songs, and when it does something right, it really got it right. Personally, I'd rather recommend to just stick with South Park Bigger, Longer, and Uncut, but if you love the comedic style of Parker and Stone and are over 18, then you'll definitely enjoy this. You know, watching this now, I can't stop thinking that this feels so familiar. A movie which uses or emulates an obscure animation medium to make this that satires modern big-budget action films through a goofy comedy while exaggerating the cliches as their jokes. It's awesome, right? Or should I say, everything is awesome? Seriously, I just can't help but feel like there are so many similarities with Team America and the Lego Movie. In fact, that would make a really interesting analysis. The multi-talented double geniuses Parker and Stone versus Hollywood's latest and hottest dynamic duo Lord and Miller. Someone has to do this. I'm sure there are more similarities between the four than we think. Hey guys, this is AniMat's. So now that I just saw Team America, I'm sure a lot of you are probably thinking, so now I did this, does this mean I'm going to review movies that has puppets now? Are you going to suggest me all these different movies that has puppets and I put it in the animation hat and stuff like that? Okay, now before you guys do anything or make any assumptions or whatever, let me just try to clarify something. Technically, yes. I do consider puppetry as a form of animation, since in the definition of animation, it's pretty much take something that normally should not move, and what you do is just give it life and make it move on its own. That's basically animation in a nutshell. However, the thing with that is that I'm not gonna go and review any movie that would normally have a puppet. Like, I'm not gonna do that. What I am gonna do is that I will consider movies that just have puppets in them. Like, no live actors or anything like that. It's just puppets. That's it. But even with that, I think the only movies that have, like, 100% puppets in their films with no live actors or anything like that is just maybe this one and Jim Henson's The Dark Crystal. Maybe there are more that I don't know of, but those two are basically the ones that come into mind. But anyways, now that that is over with, let's move on to the next review in the animation hat. And by the way, If you guys would like to suggest an animated film you would like me to review and I would put in the animation hat, then write me an email at animatsreviews@gmail.com. Alright, so now, let's just get things started. Oh, there we go. That was actually pretty quick. And so, the next review shall be... Stupid little thing. Oh, come on. You got it. Oh my god, this one. Wow, finally I'm gonna take a look at it, and this is a highly demanded one as well. I mean, the thing is that everybody, and I mean everybody, keeps on saying that this is the most underrated animated film ever, but honestly at this point, the fact that everybody's saying it, I don't think it's underrated. I think it's already in the category of animated classics.